In a small and remote African village, there lived a poor young girl named Amina. The village was surrounded by dry fields, dusty paths, and simple mud houses with straw roofs. Life there was very difficult. Most families survived by farming, but in recent years the rain had been scarce, and the crops were not growing well. Amina's family struggled every day just to find enough food to eat. Amina was a hard-working and kind girl. From a young age, she helped her mother with many chores. Every morning, she walked long distances to fetch water from the village well. She also collected firewood from the nearby forest and took care of her younger brothers and sisters. Even though her life was full of challenges, Amina never complained. Deep in her heart, she carried a big dream. She wanted to change her family's life and bring them a better future. Many people in the village often talked about the big city far away. They said there were more opportunities there, jobs, businesses, and chances to earn money. Amina listened carefully to these stories and slowly began to believe that the city might be her only hope. One evening, after thinking about it for many days, Amina made a brave decision. She would travel to the city and look for work. When she told her mother felt worried, but she also knew that Amina was strong and determined. Early the next morning, before the sun rose, Amina packed a small bag with a few clothes and some food. She looked around at the village where she had spent her entire life. With hope in her heart and a little fear in her mind, she began her journey toward the city, hoping to find a better future for her family. After arriving in the busy city, Amina felt both amazed and nervous. The city was completely different from her quiet village. Tall buildings stood everywhere, cars filled the noisy streets, and crowds of people rushed from one place to another. Everything moved so fast that Amina sometimes felt lost. For several days, she walked around the city searching for work. She visited small shops, restaurants, and markets, asking if anyone needed help. Some people ignored her, while others politely told her they had no jobs available. Even though she felt tired and disappointed, Amina did not give up. She remembered why she had come, to help her family. One afternoon, after hours of walking under the hot sun, Amina stopped near a large shopping area. Many expensive cars were parked along the road. She had never seen such beautiful and shiny cars before. Feeling exhausted, she looked around for a taxi that could take her to the small place where she was staying. Suddenly, she noticed a sleek black car parked by the side of the street. The door was slightly open. Thinking it was a taxi waiting for passengers, Amina slowly walked toward it. She looked around but did not see the driver nearby. Believing it was normal in the city, she quietly sat inside the car to wait. The soft leather seat and the clean, luxurious interior surprised her. She had never sat in such a comfortable car before. Amina felt a little nervous, but she thought the driver would return soon. What she didn't know was that this car did not belong to a taxi driver at all. It belonged to one of the richest and most powerful billionaires in the entire city. And in just a few moments, her life was about to change forever. Automobile sparkled. Amina was still sitting quietly inside the car, looking around with curiosity. Everything inside the vehicle looked expensive and elegant. The seats were made of soft leather, the dashboard shined like new, and there was a gentle scent in the air. It was nothing like the old buses and taxis she had seen before. She felt a little uncomfortable, but believed the driver would return any moment. A few minutes later, a tall man wearing a dark suit walked toward the car. His confident steps and serious expression showed that he was an important person. His name was Daniel Okoye, one of the most powerful and successful businessmen in the city. Many people knew him as a billionaire who owned large companies, luxury hotels, and businesses across the country. Daniel had just finished an important meeting in a nearby building. As he approached his car, he suddenly noticed someone sitting inside. He stopped walking for a moment, surprised and confused. This had never happened before. No one had ever entered his private car without permission. Slowly, he opened the door and looked inside. There he saw Amina, a simple village girl with worn clothes and a nervous expression on her face. The moment she saw him, her heart started beating fast. She quickly realized that something was wrong. Amina immediately stood up and began to apologize, thinking she had made a terrible mistake. She tried to explain that she thought the car was a taxi and that she meant no harm. Her voice trembled with fear. Daniel looked at her carefully. Instead of anger, he felt something unexpected: curiosity. This poor, frightened girl sitting in his luxury car was the last thing he had expected to see that day. And somehow, this strange moment was about to begin a story neither of them could have imagined. Amina's heart began to race the moment the tall man opened the car door. She quickly stepped out of the car, her hands shaking with fear. She had never been in such an embarrassing situation before. Looking down at the ground, she started apologizing again and again. "I'm so sorry, sir," she said nervously. "I thought this was a taxi. I didn't know this was your car. Please forgive me. I didn't mean to do anything wrong." Her voice trembled as she spoke. She was afraid that the man might become angry or call security. In the busy city, she felt small and powerless. Daniel stood quietly for a moment, observing her. He noticed her simple clothes, the small worn bag she carried, and the tired look on her face. It was clear that she wasn't someone trying to steal or cause trouble. She looked like someone who had been through many struggles. Instead of shouting or getting angry, Daniel asked calmly, "Why did you think this was a taxi?" Amina slowly explained that she was new in the city and had come from a small village looking for work. She had been walking for hours under the hot sun and was trying to find a ride back to the place where she was staying. As Daniel listened to her story, something about her honesty caught his attention. She wasn't pretending or making excuses. She was simply telling the truth. For the first time in a long while, Daniel felt curious about someone he had just met. And Amina, who had been terrified only moments ago, realized that this powerful man was not as frightening as she had imagined. Daniel looked at Amina more carefully now. There was something different about her. In a city where many people tried to impress him with money, power, or status, this young woman stood in front of him with nothing but honesty. Her eyes showed nervousness, but they were also sincere and kind. He could see that she was not pretending to be someone else. She was simply a girl from a small village who had come to the city hoping to change her life. Most people Daniel met were confident, ambitious, and often selfish. But Amina was different. Her simple words and humble behavior made him feel something he had not felt in a long time: genuine interest. "Don't worry," Daniel said calmly. "You didn't know? It was an honest mistake." Amina looked up, surprised by his kindness. She had expected anger or trouble, but instead she found understanding. Daniel then asked, "So you came to the city looking for work?" Amina nodded and told him about her family, the difficult life in her village, and her dream of helping her parents and younger siblings. As she spoke, Daniel listened quietly. Her story was simple, but it was full of determination and hope. For some reason, he didn't want the conversation to end. In that moment, Daniel realized that meeting this girl by accident might not have been an accident at all. Sometimes, life brings two very different people together for a reason. After listening to Amina's story, Daniel remained silent for a few moments. The busy sounds of the city continued around them, cars passing, people talking, and horns echoing through the streets. But Daniel's mind was focused on the simple village girl standing in front of him. He could see how tired she looked. The long walk, the heat, and the stress of searching for work had clearly exhausted her. Yet despite everything, she still stood there politely, trying not to cause any trouble. Daniel finally spoke. "If you don't mind, I can take you where you need to go," he said calmly. Amina was surprised by the offer. For a moment, she wasn't sure if she should accept. After all, this was a complete stranger, and clearly a very important one. But his voice sounded sincere and respectful. "Thank you, sir," she said softly. They both got into the car, and Daniel started driving. As the car moved through the busy streets, Amina looked out the window with amazement. The tall buildings, bright lights, and large stores were so different from the quiet life of her village. During the drive, Daniel asked her more about her life. Amina told him about her parents, her younger siblings, and how she used to help her mother every day. She explained how difficult life had become after the harvest started failing. Daniel listened carefully. Her words were simple, but they were full of honesty and courage. The more he heard about her struggles, the more he admired her determination. Not many people would leave their home and travel to a big city alone just to help their family. As the car continued moving through the city, Daniel realized something surprising. Meeting this girl had made his ordinary day suddenly feel different. As the car continued moving through the city streets, Daniel found himself asking more questions about Amina's life. Normally, he was always busy with meetings, business calls, and important decisions. But today felt different. For the first time in a long while, He was simply having a genuine conversation with someone. Amina spoke about her village with warmth and pride. She described the small mud houses, the open fields, and the quiet evenings when families gathered together outside their homes. She talked about the smell of food cooking over firewood and the laughter of children playing under the wide African sky. Even though life there was difficult, she still loved her home deeply. Daniel listened carefully, imagining the peaceful village life she described. His own life had always been filled with luxury buildings, expensive offices, and constant pressure from business responsibilities. Hearing Amina's simple stories made him realize how different their worlds were. At one point, Daniel asked gently, "Do you miss your village?" Amina smiled softly. "Yes," she replied. "I miss it every day, but I came here because I want to help my family. If I can find a job, maybe their life will become easier." Her answer impressed Daniel. She wasn't thinking about herself. Her main concern was her family. Many people Daniel met in the city only cared about money or success for themselves. But Amina's dream was simple, to support the people she loved. As they continued driving, Daniel started to feel a growing respect for her courage and kindness. Deep inside, he began to wonder if he could somehow help her. And without realizing it, this simple car ride was slowly bringing two completely different lives closer together. After driving for a while, Daniel finally asked Amina where she was staying in the city. She hesitated for a moment before answering. The place she was living in was a very small and crowded room that she shared with another girl from her village. It was not comfortable, but it was the only place she could afford for now. Daniel quietly nodded as she explained. He could imagine how difficult it must be for someone who had just arrived in a big city without money or connections. As they continued talking, Daniel began to feel a strong desire to help her. Normally, he avoided getting involved in strangers' problems because his life was already full of responsibilities. But Amina's situation felt different. Her determination and honesty had made a deep impression on him. "Have you found any work yet?" Daniel asked. Amina shook her head slowly. "Not yet," she said. "I have been searching for several days, but most places say they don't have any jobs." Daniel thought for a moment. He owned many businesses in the city, hotels, restaurants, and offices. Finding a small job for someone like Amina would not be difficult for him. But instead of immediately offering help, he wanted to understand her better. "What kind of work would you like to do?" he asked. Amina looked thoughtful before answering. "Any honest work," she said. "I just want to earn enough to support my family." Her answer once again showed her humility and sincerity. At that moment, Daniel made a quiet decision in his mind. He would help this girl find an opportunity. What started as a simple mistake, getting into the wrong car, was slowly turning into something much more meaningful for both of them. Daniel thought carefully for a moment while driving. Amina's words stayed in his mind. Her wish was simple. She just wanted an honest job so she could support her family back in the village. After a short silence, Daniel spoke. "I might be able to help you," he said calmly. Amina turned to him with surprise. "Really?" she asked, her voice full of hope. Daniel nodded. "I own several businesses in the city. One of my hotels is currently looking for new staff. If you are willing to work hard, I can arrange an interview for you." For a moment, Amina could hardly believe what she was hearing. Just a short time ago, she had been walking through the streets feeling lost and hopeless. Now, suddenly, an opportunity was appearing in front of her. "Thank you, sir," she said gratefully. "I promise I will work very hard." Daniel smiled slightly. He could see the determination in her eyes. It reminded him of his own early days when he had started his business with very little. Soon they arrived near the small building where Amina was staying. The area looked very simple compared to the luxurious places Daniel usually visited. Before she stepped out of the car, Daniel gave her a small card with his office address and phone number. "Come to this address tomorrow morning," he said. "Ask for my assistant. I will inform them about you." Amina carefully held the card as if it were something very valuable. To her, it felt like the first real chance to change her life. As she stepped out of the car, neither of them realized that this meeting, caused by a simple mistake, was about to become the beginning of a much bigger story. The next morning, Amina woke up very early. She was both nervous and excited. Carefully holding the small card Daniel had given her, she prepared herself for the important day ahead. This opportunity meant everything to her. After getting ready, she traveled to the address written on the card. When she arrived, she was amazed to see a large and beautiful hotel building standing in front of her. It was far more luxurious than anything she had ever seen before. Taking a deep breath, Amina walked inside and spoke to the receptionist. She explained that Mr. Daniel had asked her to come. Soon, Daniel's assistant welcomed her and guided her through a short interview. Amina answered every question honestly. She spoke about her village, her family, and her strong desire to work hard. Her sincerity and determination impressed everyone. Later that day, the assistant returned with good news. "You got the job," he said with a smile. Amina's eyes filled with happiness and relief. For the first time since arriving in the city, she finally felt hopeful about her future. A few days later, Daniel visited the hotel and saw Amina working with dedication and kindness toward everyone. Guests appreciated her polite behavior, and the staff respected her hard-working attitude. Slowly, Daniel and Amina continued to meet and talk from time to time. Their friendship grew stronger, and Daniel admired her even more for her humility and strength. What began as a simple mistake, entering the wrong car, had brought two completely different people together, and Daniel eventually realized something important. True happiness is not found in wealth or luxury, but in meeting someone with a pure heart who reminds you what truly matters in life.